Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum and hello to all my group members. So we are gathered here today to discuss about the social environment, including current trends on the case study that has been given by our lecturer, which is the case study of the company Twitter.
Salam.
Okay, we will see what are the topics and aspects that we are going to discuss and dig on the social environment, including trends. So we will begin our session with Muhd Huzaifi on the topic of political.
Okay, thank you to Mr. Ashraf. Okay, Twitter was a giant in industry. However, it faced serious competition from companies such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, TikTok, and Google. There are also foreign competitors that are regional social media and messaging companies with strong positions in particular countries, including Kakao, which pose competitive challenges. Many of these competitors were growing at a multiple of Twitter's growth over 2 years, 2017 until 2018. Facebook had an increase of 296 million monthly active users, which mean they increased 15.8%. But WhatsApp increased by 300 million, which means they increased 30%. Over the same period, Twitter increased only 13 million monthly users. In 2018, its shares of worldwide digital ad revenue dropped to 0.8% in 2018. We know that teenagers nowadays like to play apps that are viral, or we call it trending. That's why Twitter must compete with many competitors and companies. So Twitter must upgrade their application to make sure that many users using their apps. I think that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Huzaifi. So to conclude your discussion about the political view on Twitter case study is that there were many others media platform or social media platform that are better that in term of revenue and populariness, that are better than the Twitter. So do we all agree on the topic? Yes. Okay, so based on this Huzaifi summarization, that Twitter must do something to surpass other social media application, to become more popular and to gain more revenue than other social media platform. So for the next discussion, we are going to talk about the economic factor that affects on this Twitter case study.
Okay, I am Chian Wee, so I will talk about economy. The economy macro environment is positive. It's new emerging sector in full growth, but it's not easy to be able to adapt to this growth. Other companies like Facebook are growing at a much faster speed than Twitter, and its penetration in a new market level. So, however, despite the number of users and volume of use, Twitter have failed to provide any financial gains until the fourth quarter of 2017. And this profit had come as a result of cutting costs, not growing the business. Research and development and sales and marketing expenses had been cut by 24 and 25%, respectively, and the company's annual net revenue for fiscal 2017 was down over 3% from 2016. Twitter discovered in the third quarter of 2017 that it had been miscalculated monthly user numbers since the fourth quarter of 2014 and consequently was forced to lower the previously reported numbers. Even more problematic was an accumulated deficit of over 2.6 billion. Although Twitter showed its first full year profit in fiscal 2018, it was due largely to maintaining low costs, and the impact of the tech revenue of 3 million in 2018 was an increase of 24% over 2017. But cost for research and development, sales and marketing, and total cost of expenses were below 2016 levels as a percentage of revenue. Total costs and expenses were 11% lower than 2016, and research and development costs were 20% below 2014 levels. The accumulated deficit, which at the end of fiscal 2017 was over 2.6 billion, had been reduced to 1.5 billion. Twitter consolidated income statement for 2014 through 2018 are presented in Exhibit 1. The company's consolidated balance sheet for 2014 through 2018 are presented in Exhibit 2. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Chian Wee, on your input about economic factor on Twitter. So basically, on the economic factor, Twitter were also declining compared to the other social media company on its income and revenue. And based on our discussion by Chian Wee, users were expected that the Twitter economy must reach on the same level of the other social media, but they are not based on the case study. So that is the input that Chian Wee has discussed. So we are going to the next aspect that affect the social environment and current trends on the on Twitter case study, which is the uh, social factor.
Okay, thank you, Ashraf. So for the social factor, social and current cultural difference around the world. So it have an impact on the company's communication strategy for Twitter. So basically, the education level, the way of doing, and attitude play a significant role in the impact of Twitter and its real penetration a new market level. Okay, in the if you can see, if you can refer to this case study, Twitter employees would be organized in functional group such as engineering as support as opposed to the present product teams. Those say he decided on the structural change to simplify the way of the company work and to make the organization more straightforward. They also believe that a pure end-to-end functional organization will help them make a decision more clear. So it will help the company to build a stronger culture and prepare the company to increase their creativity and innovation. They also believe that Twitter must enter a creativity phase to be relevant and important to the world. So if you refer in the Twitter's website, in their policy is earning people trust. So from here we can see Twitter, we 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 know Twitter is what is happening. So to stay reliable and credible, they must always earning their user trust. Their policy also make it straightforward. So in the others meaning, simple is good, but straightforward is better. So we can see a content in the Twitter. All the users using the we call it trade. So they can share the information and the information in a straightforward way. So the others policies about Twitter is uniting profit and purpose, and also being fast, free, and fun. So their target, they should move fast and also feel free to be their self and have fun. That is what Twitter's organization built in their teams. So I think that's all about social factor. I pass it to Ashraf.
Thank you, Adam, for your input about social factor that affecting Twitter based on the case study. So, any objection from others, my team member, or do we all agree?
Hello. I agree with that point because all he said that all is true and it's going in Twitter.
Okay, thank you. So we have discussed it and we are all agree that Twitter, what Adam has been saying about the social factor. So the next topic that we are going to discuss is the technological factor, which we all based on the case study in 2018, Twitter has restructuring their application to become more faster, innovative, and more creative. They have done it because they want to reach on the same level as others social media application. And what we are going to discuss, how the technology factors can also help Twitter users on providing them not just creative or fun content, but also more privacy towards their account. So new innovation and collaboration to help protect people and advertisers also from potentially harmful content were also is an important factor towards technology. So, and to enforce the safety measure on social media, they must taking down harmful content after it was posted and disabling the account that create it. So on the technological aspect, they must allowing service much allowing service more proactive and to approach creating and safe environment for the people and also brands or also celebrity that will use this platform. So uh, Twitter must move away from a reactive and punitive approach and use technology to focus on education and preventing and providing their users and advertisers with far more control over their experience with Twitter. So that's all from the technological factor that can be discussed based on the case study. So any objection from my other group member?
No, I agree with your point. I as a Twitter users, basically, if we can see others, if in the Twitter have a suspicious account or they post explicit content, the Twitter will automatically block the account the short time. So I think
Yes, that is basically what I said. So thank you Adam uh, for plus and addition input towards the technology. Yeah, Twitter must do things like such as safety mode or auto blocks account, and not just must launch it, but must focus it on this term. So for the next discussion, we are going to talk about the environmental factors that affect this case study.
okay. For the environmental factor, so for your information, the environmental can be the most important factor because it's about the social responsibility of a company. If they want to enter a new market, they have to be aware of the social responsibilities, exigencies, and of the new market and environmental rules. So we all know Twitter was quite simple. So Twitter, if I'm not mistaken, in 2017, the users can only post about 140 characters, but it was raised to 280. So the character constraint made it easy for users to distribute, and discover content that was consistent across the Twitter platform as well as optimized for mobile device. So consequently, the large volume of tweet drove high velocity information exchange. Twitter's aim was to become an indispensable stable daily companion to live human experience. So the company did not have restriction on whom user could follow, which greatly enhanced the breadth and depth of available content, and also allow users to find the content they care about the most. So the user can follow by hundred of thousand or million of the others user without requiring a reciprocal relationship, enhancing the ability of users to reach a broad audience. So if you can see, if you want to share if we want to share some information about the in the Twitter, we can tweet because the character was raised to 280. Twitter also known as a eh, uh, basically I get a new information from Twitter before it raised in the news or newspaper. So I think that's all from me. I pass it to Ashraf again.
Thank you Adam for your input or for your aspect discussion about the environmental factors that affect Twitter based on the case study. So we are going to proceed to the next aspect or topics that affect the case study, which is legal. So anyone?
Okay. Thank you to Mr. Ashraf. Okay. About legal. Okay. Twitter was the Twitter global platform for real-time public self-expression and conversation, which allow people to create, consume, discover, and distribute people to create and distribute content. Some of the most trusted media outlets in the world, such as CNN and BBC, use Twitter to distribute content. Twitter company generate advertising and data license revenue by providing mobile advertising exchange service through the Twitter exchange and offering data product and data license that allow their data partners to search and analyze historical and real-time data on the Twitter platform, which consisted of public tweets and their content. Also, Twitter data partners use purchased license to access all of operated mobile and exchange and receive service fees from transactions completed on the exchange. The Twitter mobile and ad exchange allow buyers and sellers to purchase and selling advertising. That's all from me. Thank you to Mr. Ashraf.
Okay, thank you, Huzaifi, for your um, for your input towards the legal factors that affect the case study. So we are running out of time. So we are going to discuss about the next topic, which is the last topic, current situation.
Hello. Okay, in this part I will about the issue in Twitter. The first issue is taken away from Twitter deal. This issue is because Twitter openly accused the social media company of breaching the merger agreement by not providing the data he has requested on spam and fake account. In a letter to Twitter, Elon Musk allegedly that Twitter actively resisting thwarting his information right as outlined in the deal. This is a clear material breach of Twitter obligations under the merger agreement, and Mr. Elon Musk reserves all rights resulting therefrom, including his right not to consummate the transaction and his right to terminate the merger agreement. An attorney representing Musk wrote to the company that Musk has demanded that Twitter were sorry. Musk has demanded that Twitter turn over information about its stating methodologies to support its claim that bots and fake accounts constitute less than 5% of the platform user base. A figure that company has consisted for years in boilerplate public disclosure. Musk has also called for doing his own independent assessment based on Twitter data. Share of Twitter fell 5% in early trading Monday, even before the latest development. Twitter stock was trading well below Musk's for 54.20 per share, likely indicating greater skepticism about the deal going through. The company also said it intends to close the transaction and enforce the merger agreement at a agreed price. Musk has allegedly that the true number of spam accounts is still much more, potentially as high as 90%. Musk has previously said the acquisition cannot be moved forward until the company provides proof of its spam metric. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Amirul, for your discussion based on the topic legal factor. So any objection? So we are all agree about the legal aspect that affects Twitter based on the case study. So can Chian Wee conclude our discussion for today?
Okay, sure. I can conclude the discussion. The Twitter, as we know, Twitter is slower than Facebook, the growing speed. Then Twitter must have as the top priority to help people find credible information and feel safe participating in the conversation on Twitter. Conversation as Twitter's superpower, promoting more conversation on Twitter to ensure that it's the place where people all around the world go to see and talk. Cool. That's all from me.
Thank you, Chian Wee. So basically, that's what we are discussing today. So Chian Wee has summarized or conclude and combining all the topics and factors that my group and I have discussed just now. So we are running out of time. So we got to end our discussion, and thank you all to all my group member for this very productive group discussion, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.